Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be starting the huge project of remodeling, fixing up our basement, and the first step is going to be clearing out this wall and putting in a massive canning shelf that covers this entire wall. This will give us much needed storage space for food, as we don't really have much of a pantry upstairs, and all of our canning that we do from our garden throughout the year, this is the perfect place to store it. After moving everything out of the way and removing a wall that the previous owner built here that isn't supporting anything and definitely isn't needed, I'll measure out the space and draw up some plans. These aren't to scale, but they have all the measurements I need, and this helps me visualize what I'm wanting to build. So I'm going to be building this in two sections. The top section is going to be about 12 inches deep, and the bottom section, which I'm building in this video, will be 19 inches deep. Now finally getting started on building the cabinet, and I'm going to start by breaking down all of the sheets of plywood to the usable sizes that I need for the shelving. This sometimes can be the hardest part, as breaking down those large sheets of plywood can be pretty difficult with 3/4 inch plywood on a table saw by yourself, but once you get it cut down, it's a lot easier to work with and cut to the sizes you need. Then I'm going to take a dado blade and cut a few dado cuts in these for the shelving to sit into, and then on those same sections I'm going to pre-drill so that I don't split anything with the plywood, so I can screw the cabinet all together. Now that I have everything cut out, I'm going to start assembling, and these corner clamps are amazing. I would definitely recommend getting some of these. They're perfect for assembling cabinets and drawers. They hold everything square right where you need them to be, so you can fasten the corner together. To add some additional strength, I'm going to be putting some wood glue on each of these joints before screwing it together, and that will increase the overall strength once this is all finished. Next, I'll be sliding the shelves into those dados that I cut previously on the table saw, and I'll be gluing each of those joints before screwing it. That's one section done. I need to build 3 more. Now before I go too much farther, I'm going to test out the shelving in this space to make sure it fits, plus my shop is getting really full, so I'm going to set everything up out here and finish building them in place. I'm going to be placing these cabinets on top of pressure treated 2x4s to insulate them from any moisture that's in the concrete and keep them nice and dry. I'll be putting a little bit of liquid nail glue on each of those 2x4s. They'll dry and stay in place really well once that's finished drying, but until then I'm going to leave these cabinets on top to hold them in place. Everything seems to fit really well, so I'm going to move on to the next step, which is nailing some 1/4 inch plywood onto the back of these shelves. I don't want anything to fall behind the shelving, so I'm going to just close that up and make it nice and sealed, and then I'll flip this around to the other side once it's all nailed into place. While we've been fixing up the rest of the house, the basement ended up becoming just a catch-all, and we've wanted to do this project for quite a while, but haven't gotten around to it until now. If you're interested in seeing how this basement turns out, I'll be posting regular videos on the progress of each project we're doing, so stay tuned. Next, I'm going to be adding some braces across the top of these shelves, 4-inch wide strips of plywood that I have some pocket hole screws to make it really easy to attach, but this will help me fasten down the countertop that I'm going to be putting on top of these shelves. Once that's done, I'm going to take several screws and fasten the sections together so it functions as one solid piece. This floor is gradually sloping downhill towards the center of the basement, so I need to level these cabinets out so they're not leaning forward and risking tipping over. So I've got some shims here. I'm going to shim it up and make sure everything is level before proceeding. Now for the countertop, I'm going to be using some of this lumber that I milled from a sweet gum tree in our backyard. I milled this a year or so ago, left it drying, now it's finally ready to use, and I'm going to be using this just pretty much as solid planks across the countertop, not gluing them together. I want it to look a little more rustic, and we'll be painting all of the plywood white, and this wood we're going to leave exposed and probably put a stain or oil over top of it to seal it. Now to trim up the face of the shelving here, I'm going to be using the sweet gum as well. I ripped this down to 2-inch sections, and we're going to be using that as the cap, and this will make the countertop look a little more substantial, and it will also cover up the edges of that plywood that doesn't really look very good once you paint. And if the edge of plywood is exposed, the different layers in that plywood absorbs paint differently, and so it shows off those individual layers, and in my opinion, it doesn't look that great once you paint it. So adding this frame in front will make it look a lot better. Then I'm going to take some more sweet gum and cover up those vertical sections of plywood as well, because that is going to be noticeable when you paint. It's not going to look that great, so this cleans it up and makes it look a lot better. Now, I couldn't help myself. I wanted to see what this was going to look like when it was all finished and see how these racks fit in the shelving. I designed it to fit these perfectly, and it looks great. Now these canning racks are amazing, not just for organizing, but also keeping your food fresh, because we don't want anything going to waste or becoming expired. So as you use it and you refill it, it automatically rotates the old stuff to the front and you use it up before it expires. So this is great. If anybody's interested in these, I'll leave the link down in the description below, but just wanted to test that out before going too much further. Got really excited about how it was looking and wanted to test it out. Now back to the project, I'm going to put the face board across each of these shelves as well, put a little bit of glue on it, and use a finish nailer to nail through into those shelves. This will add a little bit of strength to those shelves as well, but it's more for just looks. It'll be nice and finished off once I paint. Alright guys, that just about finishes up the video for today. This was a much bigger project, so I'm going to be splitting this up into 3 parts. This video is the bottom portion of that shelving. My next video, you guys can check that out right here at the end of the video. That's going to be the top section of shelving, and then the following video we're going to be staining and painting the entire shelving wall and showing you guys what that looks like all finished up. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit that like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you enjoyed this video, check out the other 2 parts to see the finished result of this project right here on the screen. You can click through to watch those. Thanks so much guys. I'll see you in the next one.